song.
Say Bagpipes Rock, Paddy.
That's Bagpipes Rock. Get that into your phone and blow the
Bagpipes
cobwebs
rock.
on the green. Get that into you early in the morning.
Yeah.
Blow the cobwebs out. Yeah.
Yes. Too bad you're not playing drums while you're, hosting. What do you think?
I'm usually banging.
You're banging the door. Cool. What time is it? Oh, yeah, we're in Ireland. We need to get that clock on there because I should be sleeping.
No.
But obviously, I should be sleeping.
Lovely stuff indeed. You can't beat it. Bagpipes Rock. Now, as I said, Gina Nemo here with me in the studio. Hi, Gina.
Hi, Paddy. I can't believe I'm actually here. It's cool.
Neither
It's
can I.
coolio.
It's coolio. Did you come up with that word yourself?
Yes, I did, but I can't brand that because, there's an artist named Coolio.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So, but I still say Coolio because I think it's funny. In an American way funny.
Yeah.
Not the Irish way funny.
I'm beginning to use it systematically now when I'm texting.
Coolio? I know, because cool's just not enough.
And it rhymes. Coolio, Gina Nemo.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Coolio Nemo, then I've got Retro Nemo, I've got a bunch of stuff.
And Patio.
And I call him Patio.
Yeah.
But you know where I got that kind of jive from? It was actually from my father. My father kind of was one of the creators of Jive Talk in the jazz era. So he used to do all these crazy words and everything. That's where I actually learned, to change things. So, and when we were younger, my sister and I would get kind of confused because we'd be like, what did he just say? So, but he actually was one of the creators of Jive Talk when he wrote all of his hits and everything, and that's not documented a lot, but he was one of the first guys in the jazz era to come up with all those crazy words,
Could you give us one or two?
Well, like one of his songs, Zava, 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 he used to always do that when he would be with, with a lot of, well-known people or, that whole bunch, the whole jazz set. He'd be like, Zava, 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 baby,
Was there any Irishness in him?
Not in my father, no, just my mother's side. Now, my dad was definitely Italian. It was the Russian background mostly.
Because we love to play on words here.
Yes.
As well.
Yes. But, and of course, everyone thought I was Captain Nemo when I was younger. That, that was the joke. Now it's Finding Nemo. Did you find Nemo?
And do you mind that?
No, not at all.
People calling you Captain Nemo.
No, when I was younger, I used to go to school, and the teacher would even make a joke. Oh, there's Nemo, 20,000 leagues under the sea, like I was late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
so I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was really, it was cute. I'm not gonna say funny, but see, funny and cute mean the same thing in America. We were hanging at Moby Dick's.
Yes.
Yeah.
You had a latte with a
I had my latte, and they made the perfect design on the top of it. I have to say, I was really impressed. It was awesome.
Lovely. So let's get back to you
Yes.
now. I'd like to know when you started writing poetry.
Well, actually, this is, I've never really gotten to tell this story really on the radio, which is cool because radio's always been about the acting career or 21 Jump Street or music. I just started venturing out talking about poetry, within the last couple years, but I have actually been writing poetry since I was a real young child. I used to write it in greeting cards to my grandmother, to my dad. I do little notes, like, oh, the king of cool, I just got back from school, love you more than, anyone in the world. You know that I'm your girl, love G, and my father had a nickname for me. It was G-Joe. So,
that's right.
Yeah, that was my dad's nickname for me. And that was part of the whole Jive thing that I was talking about when he created the Jive Talk and stuff. So he used to be like, hey, G-Joe, so.
You don't mind being called that?
No, not at all. Well, it's also very personal for me. Obviously, people I'm close to, obviously you're one of my close friends now.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So
poetry was natural.
Poetry was natural. Yeah, it was actually a really, really, I've said this quite a few times, just to people, not on the air, but poetry was actually like therapy to me. I went through a very, very traumatic childhood experience with my mom dying and everything, and I was only 8. So I had to find releases, as a child when something that, heavy happens. You need to kind of find a way to express yourself or the sadness or the pain or whatever. So I used to just write. That's where I started writing. And I would write poetry and songs, and I love writing stories. I'm still hoping to write a novel one day. I really want to write a good novel. That's part of my goal. My goals in life. You have a checklist, That's something I want to do. I've written plenty already, but I've never finished them completely to, you have to take them through like a bunch of different rewrites, and it takes a lot of work and effort. So to do what I'm doing and do that takes a really big commitment, and that would move me away from the music and all this other stuff I'm doing, like producing projects and stuff. So I love writing poetry. That's why I'm here. Obviously, I'm here for the Fermoy Poetry Festival in Fermoy, and a lot of great people, and and also in Dublin, because I met some amazing people in Dublin, and some other poets too that won't be at the festival, but they're amazing. And so it actually started as just something for me as a comfort, really. Poetry was like comfort to me. And it's funny, since I've gone into this daily thing, how you and I do the posters together, it's interesting how calming that is, really. If I don't do a poster, I feel like something's missing, you know? Do you feel like that too?
Oh, when I log into Facebook, I say, you're regular and you have a certain time.
Yeah.
But there were some days that I had to wait till midnight.
Yeah, well, when I'm crazy. Or if I'm in production or something, I can't get off the set or something. It's
And I have this thing in my head, I don't want to miss one. If I miss one day, it will do something bad.
Yeah.
I'd like to see one every day.
Well, it's kind of like I do that, where I start, where that started from. It wasn't just about only the poetry. There's a thing that people say, it's kind of a positive thinking thing. It's like a spiritual thing, that if you put something positive out every single day, okay, out into the universe, something positive. And it doesn't have to mean it has to be for a particular person or, for a reason. But the whole idea, it's like an energy thing. You put something positive out there in the world, and it just makes things better. So if everyone thought that way, just imagine how much better things would be. Like if everyone did something during the day for everyone else. Okay. So I started doing the poems actually just to basically put something positive out. And that was my gift. I want to give a gift to the world. This is my gift. I give this daily. Okay. It's up to everyone else how they take it. You've taken it to a whole different level, which I love, but I'm saying a lot of people read these poems and they tell me, they say, I love this, or, oh, I look forward to your poems every day. There's a lot of people who really they may not say stuff, but they're really waiting for the poems. Mm. And don't forget, I have a lot of really well-known people on my Facebook and stuff. You're talking about a lot of people in the industry, and so you're covering everything from the producer of, big films to famous rock stars to, I've got everybody on there. So, they're looking at these posters and they're like, they may not say anything, but then as soon as I disappear for a couple of days, everyone's like, where are you? What happened?
It's probably just as well that they don't comment, because you would then feel pressure to reply to all.
Yeah,
because
I don't see, but the whole idea of giving is I don't expect anything back.
But
see, that's my whole point. I put it out there. If people want to answer, they can answer. If they don't, then that's their problem. It's not a big deal.
But you do consistently reply to everyone.
I try to reply to everyone that I can.
Yeah.
It's gotten a little bit more difficult sometimes because I'm doing so much,
Yeah, but
I'm trying to keep up with everything. I still
Yeah.
try to do it, because I think it's important. It's like when you know people and you're good friends with people, you want to give back as much as you can. But sometimes it's really tough for me. Like even coming to Ireland, when I was in Dublin, I had so many messages, I couldn't even look at them. I really, really couldn't look at them. I was like, if I look at this, I will not get to my meeting, or I will not get to the interview, or I won't get to see the temple bar. I won't get, the things I wanted to see. I had to really just kind of shut myself down.
Well, thanks for staying in touch with me. Then,
Yeah. Honestly, it was just you and a couple close friends in Dublin, and poets, and my friends who flew in from different parts of the world, and obviously some of the Fermoy bunch that I'm meeting up with. And
Fermoy bunch.
Actually, I should say I was very grateful. I stayed in Dublin. I wanted to stay in a historic place. I didn't want to stay in just a regular hotel, because I've stayed in really nice hotels, and then you just don't really feel where you're at. You know what I mean? In Hastings. But Breaking Down, I originally wrote was for my 1999 album, Plastic Wonderland. Now that was more of a rock version. That was a rock and roll version. It's been used on commercials and stuff. I produced the music for an ABC show years ago called The Extremists. So the rock and roll version worked with sports and adventure and stuff like that. So then when I went to go record in Hastings with this band Bohemia Road, they've changed their names, since. We did a different type of version, kind of a little bit more laid back version. I kind of wanted to do a little bit more of a casual version of it. It was just musically different, and I liked that. I liked doing a different variation of the song.
And the song itself is about a relationship breaking
Yeah,
down?
yeah. It's about, it's about being let down.
And you also said that there is nothing wrong with being alone. It's better than being in a dead relationship.
Yeah, I'd rather be alone than be in a relationship that has nothing, And it's really funny because when you get to that space, that's when things happen for you.
What interests me about the song is that it seems to be saying that when you were singing that song, you in a controlled way were breaking down. You were.
I was trying to, what the song meant, and actually I wrote it after my first divorce, to be honest with you. I wrote it, what it was is like, I'm trying to get out of this dysfunction. I'm trying to get out of this dysfunction and come back to being myself. And that was what really breaking down meant. I'm trying to break down and get back to the core of who I am. What usually happens when I write a poem is something inspires it, something makes me think. And I think I was in the market and I was, going around getting, I do the organic vegetables and fruit thing, it's that's the thing in California. You can't have the pesticides. So I'm looking around and I'm picking up, apples and stuff and everything. And I was like, wow, everybody does this. They pick up the apple, they check if it's, and it's this. And I was like thinking, And I don't know how it evolved from that, but I just wrote this poem. And so I'm going to read it. You'll see how it kind of makes a statement about people. Okay, so this is called Damaged Goods. Are you for sale? If you were to sit on a market shelf, where would you be? In the vegetable and fruit section, where people poke and prod you all day long and then cut you up and throw you in a salad while they throw parts of your roots away, and then you end up being dumped in some dark and toxic place forever? Or are you that ripe piece of fruit that everyone wants, while they eat you to your core, still always wanting more and more and more? Is that you sitting in the dessert section, waiting for someone to devour you until you are gone for good? Just another treat, and still a bargain, over and over and over again? Or are you just frozen, stuck, sitting there in some cold place, waiting to thaw, just praying for someone to open that damn door, hoping that when they finally take you home, they will not freeze you forever like those damn loaves of bread that everyone forgets? Still frozen in time with that expiration date long gone. Or are you on that shelf, the one where everyone eventually ends up sitting on the top of? That shelf where the hungry always find you? That sad and lonely place for damaged goods.
That's brilliant. There's so much in that.
Yeah.
You cannot pin down any specific meaning to that.
That's the whole point. Well, I think what I was trying to compare, as a joke, like when I read that poem, one of the other poets that's visiting from Texas said, I'm damaged goods. He said to me, I said, well, I think we're all damaged in some way. When you get through life and you go through different experiences, I think we're all damaged goods. It depends on what level and how damaged you are, I think people who have fought addictions and all sorts of stuff, thank God I never had those issues. Actually, I don't even drink or anything. I'm pretty straight. Don't drink, don't smoke. I mean, they don't know what to do with me. They're all offering me drinks 24/7. Hey, you want a drink? No, I don't need one. I'll have sparkling water. I'll have a latte. It's really funny. Like everyone's partying like crazy in Ireland, you know. So one of them said, "Oh, I'm damaged goods," and I said as a joke, "Well, so am I." I said, "But I'm really the fruit," you know, and that was my joke because I'm the ripe fruit as far as how I kind of perceived myself around people, you know, and it's silly, but because you're playing with fruit and vegetables, but the whole idea is really it's a psychological breakdown of people. You know, are you someone that you let people just do this to you all the time? You know?
Like tomatoes or tomatoes.
Yeah. Or, you know, or do they just grab you and then put you away? Or, you know, the whole idea why I use the word roots and core, because that is all about a person, you know, where your roots are from and the core of who you are. And that was the joke between roots with the vegetable and core with a fruit, you know. I mean, you know, like when I say about, I put it away here, but just to give you an example, you know, the salad, you know, whenever you know, I know this sounds silly, but maybe people will get it. But like one poet in one of my international groups said, I just have to read this over and over and over again. Like there's so much thought going through my head that, you know, she said to read it many, many times, right? So, and I think that's why I wrote it, because I wanted to make you think. But, you know, if I say, or are you that ripe piece of fruit that everyone wants? I'm that type of person because I'm a very giving person and I'm a very loving person, and people gravitate towards that, right? And I always want to give the most that I can, but, you know, I'm a very busy person, which, you know, I've got a lot of things, you know, irons in the fire. I've got my record label now and everything else, and I'm signing artists and all that. But besides that, I'm also doing production. You know, I'm also a marketing consultant. You know, I do a lot of different things, and, you know, I'm producing my documentary and then some other secret projects that I told you about that I can't really, you know, say because they're big names and I'll get in trouble. But so I guess the right piece of fruit that everyone wants while they eat you to your core, meaning that when you're such a good person, people take advantage of that. You see?
I see.
And it's really difficult when you're a nice person to put up those walls because you do want to help people. I mean, the first thing I want to do is always help people, but sometimes I can't possibly do it all, you know? So I have to figure out how much can I give, you know? How much am I going to let them eat me to my core, you know?
I see.
So that's kind of what I was playing with the wording, you know? But I think everyone kind of ends up damaged goods in a way because of life experiences. I mean, I don't know if I've met anyone who hasn't had, you know, really trying life experiences, whether it's like, you know, like I said, addictions, getting over addictions, bad relationships, lots of divorces, you know, traumatic things that happen to people in their lives, and, you know, death of a loved one, all sorts of stuff, you know. It depends on how you deal with it is how damaged you're going to become, you know. If you take it all in and then this is how you would become damaged if something really horrible happened and you go and you drink yourself to death for 2 days, you know. As far as I'm concerned, you're damaged goods because something like that made you damage yourself. That's what I was trying to kind of get at in this poem. But it's funny because not everybody knows if they're damaged goods or not. I've had that question. I've had that you asked me.
Did I?
Yeah, you said, well, who's damaged goods? Like, what do you mean by that when we were talking in the car, kind of?
Yeah, because I was thinking of my interpretation that all those who are damaged goods, it's up to them to choose which shelf
That they
to
want
be
to
on,
sit on.
and whether they want to be a piece of fruit,
Right,
how they present themselves.
right.
So explain the salad bit.
Well, yeah, but I say, yeah, okay, it's like the salad bit. When you're cutting up like vegetables and stuff, right? You always, like, say you're cutting up a carrot, right? You always, the root at the end,
You cut it off.
you cut off and you throw out into some dark trash can that ends up in some other bigger trash can, into some hole in the earth,
Yeah.
right? The root of the vegetable's gone. The root of the person is already gone. All you're doing is dealing with the other parts. You see? And
Do you
that's
mean that there's nothing there?
there's nothing there. Because the root was already gone. So what the heck is salad anyway? Salad is not the main part of the vegetable. It's just a lot of color.
I get it. Yes, that's great. Do you get that, Michael?
It's like kind of like glamour versus the real person, you know.
So if you lose your heart because of trouble in marriage or
Yeah, whatever.
relationships, you're gone. You're a salad.
But yeah, you're a salad.
Salad.
You're just going to end up, you know, but part of you may end up in the trash can. The other part gets eaten wherever you want to end up.
I can see now. I can see now how your poetry and chatting with people really builds them up, because you are very positive.
I've always been a positive kid, but you got to understand that came from when my mom died when I was a kid. You know, there it is right there. You decide. First of all, I love my father. I was very close to my dad. Thank God for him. I had an amazing grandmother from the South that was so loving. I always thank, whenever, they're all gone now. I just have my sister and myself left, but I always thank, whoever is in the world. You go, oh, if there's a God, we don't know, but the higher power, whatever. I just say thank God for those two, because they were amazing. They're both very positive people. My grandmother was a very religious woman, and she taught me faith. She wasn't a very, very openly affectionate woman. She was a Southern woman, very kind of withdrawn, very, very. She did a lot of good things for people, though. I learned a lot from her. She used to give to the American Indians. She helped with the Cancer Society later on in life. She was a very, very giving person at her church. My dad was, an entertainer and all that, but he was a real loving person, So I've been fortunate, So I grew up, thank God, with what happened to me, because it could have gone the other way. I mean, a lot of people have said to me when they've met me, they go, I can't believe you are who you are after everything you went through. A lot of people have said, and also being in the Hollywood business, I mean, I've been through the ringer, acting on 21 Jump Street, going through a Hollywood marriage that I did, I've been through a couple marriages now. I mean, I've got two amazing kids. They're both talented, but in every way, they're both very loving too. So, I mean, they're both going to do great things. I have no doubt, but I've always been very positive, and I think that comes across in the poetry. I mean, I go into a negative thing sometimes because I think it's interesting,
Oh, I love that, yeah. Sometimes
you like when I go like kind of like
when you go a bit funny.
Yeah, or when I go a bit dark, right? Funny, you used it in an American way. You used it in an American way. That's exactly it. I like dark too. There's a part of me that, I make a joke, because I wear like dark nail polish and I like to wear black, I'm wearing, see, it's called Vixen, by the way.
Seems to be black purple.
Almost black purple. But, my daughter, who's kind of in a vegetarian school, kind of, you would call it a hippie kind of, art school, Krishnamurti, George Harrison was involved with the whole thing and everything. But she calls me her goth mom. She thinks that's funny, with my dark nail polish and my black. She calls me goth mom. But so there's a part of me that's really, really attracted to dark, the darkness of things. But because I'm such an uplifting spirit, I won't gravitate it to all the time. But it's like anything, if you're on a roller coaster, isn't it more fun if you're going up and down instead of like just up? You won't even know how up you're getting if you don't go down. So I do like to get pretty. I mean, some of my poems have really freaked people out, my dark ones. I mean, I have had that happen. I've actually, this is another funny thing about poetry. People get so into it sometimes, and they think that you're only writing about you, But if I'm writing, like, say, darkness, like someone I know who's gone through addiction, one of the first poems I wrote was about someone I knew who OD'd, in the business. Now, I don't have that here, but it's really funny because I'll write a really dark poem and then I'll get messages. Are you okay? I'm like, wait, this is art, okay? But I've had people say, are you all right? Or like if I put, sometimes I'll post a song because I love songs. I love Johnny Cash. I love, Van Morrison. But say if I like post a song that's a dark song, like Johnny Cash's song, that one that he did before he died that Rick Rubin put out, and I can't think of it right now, but it's a real depressing song that he plays at the piano in the video and everything. And I post that up, right? I get messages, Gina, you're right? Well, I just like the song. It's so funny. People are funny.
So you there is an element of art in your poetry.
Yes.
When you write them.
Yes.
But some of them are real.
Well, yes, some are real, and also I take from real experiences. And don't forget, I'm really good with people, so I pick up a lot of things from the people around me. So I could, even if I'm writing about something that's about myself, I might kind of go to someone else and kind of get something from them, I might say, oh, yeah, that would sound good because that reminds me of that person. Like sometimes say, oh, do you have a muse when you write? Well, in the very beginning, yeah, I did have I kind of put a lot of different relationships together in my poetry. I take from different people that I was with or whatever. But, now mostly I'm kind of, kind of zeroing in on someone. But, it just depends, it's just, I mean, like this one I was also going to read, I don't know how much time we have, Patty, but I was going to read Vintage.
Read Vintage?
Okay.
Yes.
Vintage, I put up on this site, these are the guys that are in from Texas, this Mad Swirl thing. They, they're a little bit more eclectic. They like a little kind of out there stuff. So, and that's my other voice that I love. I have a publisher who actually wants to publish my out there stuff that's totally different from my love poetry. So, and he's in America, but he wants to publish all my crazy stuff, I don't know if you remember all the crazy stuff that about the guy that ends up in a cookie tin.
Yes, I do
and then I've
remember.
got popcorn, about like someone who wants success so badly and all they get is eaten and buttered up. That was the joke. I was actually making fun of someone who thought they were something that weren't, like someone with an attitude.
I can get so much into your poems that I can remember.
Oh, cool.
I can remember why I put things here, why I did it, They can become...
Well, yeah, like some of these some of my out there poems, like, Pink Shoe Pill Popper Blues that I read to you guys in the car.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about a mother who's hung up on pills.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a very dark subject, but I made it kind of sing-songy because I'm a big fan of Leonard Cohen, so I kind of like, I'm more of a fan of poets that are a little bit more musical. That's just me because I'm a musical person too. So my poetry is never going to just be like poetry. It's going to have some sort of ring to it. That's probably why I have that flow that you say, like it kind of just flies to the end. That's probably from my music background. Because if I was just a poet, I probably wouldn't have that same pace. You see? I think it's kind of because of my music as well. But this is one of the poems that I put up on their site because this is a little bit more out there. This isn't really hardcore out there, but it's called Vintage. Like an old movie, a classic B hit, starring the starlet, the one with the ruby red lips, wide, sexy hips. She pulls up that old velvet chair, lets down her hair, speaks about stars and going nowhere. Mars is not for her, either is the moon. She likes it on Earth, in the old saloon. Vintage scotch takes her up a notch. From here to anywhere, she is like a rocket, that look in her stare. She likes this ride, makes her warm inside, takes the curls down from her dark, free-flowing hair. She is expensive for a poor and lonely poet. I should say one-liner poet. But she gives him a sweet, loving pass with his diamond looks and his perfect ass. It's a vintage night, all about the past. These sort of nights are never meant to last.
Very good indeed. I think I remember commenting on that one, asking you a question about some of the last
Well, it's
lines
it's
there.
basically about living.
Yeah.
It's about taking. I love the old days, and I'm a big like 60. I never enjoyed the 80s, even though a lot of my success in the acting came in the 80s. I was not an 80s person.
The
I was
next
always.
presenter,
Oh, right.
Jim
Okay.
Coleman, is
Okay.
coming
Cool.
in. So,
Yeah.
as you say, we gotta go.
We gotta go.
The time just flew.
I
wish
know.
We could
See?
stay here all day.
Well, we were hanging. We hung at Moby Dick, so we had a good time. We had a coffee and.
Yeah, we stopped at
Stopped.
Lismore Castle.
Yeah, and
had
then
a
we-
great chat on the way down.
And also in the car and videotaping and all sorts of stuff. So, anyway. So,
Right then.
Well, I'm glad I got to see you in person, Patty, and it's awesome. And,
it is really.
It's been fun, hasn't it?
There's still time.
Oh, what was that line he said? Oh, you having fun yet? That's the American thing. Yeah, I'm having fun.
Okay then. Thank you very much, Gina Nemo. It was lovely having you on the show. Thank you for giving us your
Yeah,
time.
of course, it was fun.
We have to go, and stay tuned for Mixed Grill with Jim Coleman coming up next.